In real life, when something goes wrong, you're supposed to bounce back. Let's say you lose your job, or you go through a breakup, or you go through a rough patch financially. You can't sit there forever. You have to literally fix it to get things back on track. Literally, that's a necessity to move forward. And if you don't move forward. You just get stuck and you get discouraged and you start spiraling. So your brain learns something very early on in your life. When something goes wrong, the answer is to make it right. And honestly, in most areas of our life, that is true. But there is a problem when you bring that exact same mindset of survival logic into trading. Because in trading, that logic is wrong and it's quietly destroying your accounts. I see it in application after application with my students. In life, bounce back means that something went wrong. In trading, a bounce back means that you don't need to do anything. And that feels so counterintuitive and insane to your brain. But what's actually happening is when you take a loss, your nervous system immediately goes to, I need to fix this thing. And it's not because you're greedy, it's not because you're bad, it's because that's literally how humans are wired. You're wired to want to fix something when something goes wrong. And your brain doesn't see a $500 loss as a normal cost of business, which it is. It sees that I've lost something and I need to go fix it right now. And that is where everything breaks. Because in trading, you cannot fix a loss by trading more or pushing harder, and you can't fix a loss by getting the money back. You fix a loss by doing nothing differently at all. This is the most truest thing I've ever felt in my life, and it's so completely backwards to what your survival system knows currently. But the part that nobody is talking about is that in trading, you don't need anything back. You don't need to restore anything. You don't need to repair anything because nothing is broken. If you show up the next trading day, you'll be fine if you change nothing. So a loss doesn't mean you're behind or that your account is in danger or that you need to correct your course. It literally means either the market invalidated a great setup with something stronger like order flow or news, or you violated your rules and you lost. That's really the two things that exist once you know how to trade. And neither one of them is fixed by taking another trade. If the loss comes from the market, there's nothing to fix. You followed your rules, you managed your risk, you executed as well as you could, and the loss is just the loss. It's a clean cut loss and it doesn't require you to do anything else. And if that loss comes from your behavior, that loss also is not fixed by another trade because the internal state that caused the loss in the first place is still alive. So all you're doing, listen to me, all you're doing is stacking another decision on top of a compromised system that was already breaking. But your brain doesn't care about that. It's called momentum. I see it in my comment section. People talk about this invisible pull to want to trade more, this invisible itch to need to go back and trade more. This is the brain saying, I need to go make it right. So when you go trade again and again and again, your brain does not see that as wrong. Your brain actually sees it as great. And because you know how to trade already, you're convincing yourself that this is not what's happening. You're convincing yourself that you see more setups when that's not really what's happening. Those are just illusions in your head. And I'm going to be honest, this is the shift that most traders never make. Because at that point, you're no longer trading the market. You're trading the feeling to need to feel okay. And that never ends. If you're going to the market to feel like you need to feel better, you're never going to take profit ever. You're going to let your 100% trade run to zero. You're going to let your 300% trade run to zero. You're going to let any A plus setup turn into a blown account. That is why revenge trading exists and over trading exists, and why people blow an account after one bad trading day or one loss. You turn one loss into a whole blown account. It's not because you forgot your strategy. It's because your nervous system and your brain are trying to emotionally regulate through trading. And trading can never fix that for you. So I know that was a lot, but here's a very simple version. In life, you bounce back. In trading, you stand still and change nothing. That's the rule. When you lose, you don't find a new strategy. You don't try to stabilize yourself with strategy. You just don't do anything. And the part that's going to sting, because it stung me when I realized it, is you constantly feel like you need to get your money back. It's not a market problem, it's a risk problem. Because the only reason you feel urgency after a loss is because you risked too much. When you let one trade create a hole in your account and your nervous system, your brain is going to say, I need to fix this immediately. I do not care what has to happen for me to get this win. I'm going to do it by any means. And that urge is not discipline failing, it's literally urgency. So you put yourself in a position that your system cannot tolerate. Your nervous system can literally not tolerate losing that much money. And so now the real question is, how do I stop myself from revenge trading? But is it really though? Because the real question is, why do I keep putting myself in a position where I need to fix anything at all? Why? Because if your risk was correct, you wouldn't need to actually fix anything. You would just wait for the next setup. You'd be calm. You would be neutral. You would feel great. You would feel like every trade is its own trade. You feel clean emotionally. But I'm telling you, that's how profitable traders operate. Not because they're emotionally better than you. It's because structurally, there's never any urgency. We don't even give ourselves the opportunity to set up ourselves for failure. We never let one trade cause a hole big enough that needs filling. And there's never a need to bounce back. If it's a small loss, risk managed, there's never a bounce back needed. And this flips literally everything if you'll do what I'm saying. The moment you feel like you need to recover money, you are already off plan and out of structure. You're literally trading as a version of you that cannot trade well. Because the trader that trades well never feels like they need to fix anything, ever. They just wait. That's one of the biggest symptoms. Do you feel like you need to fix something? That is who I'm talking to. That's it, right? Because all profitable traders just wait. That's the brutal truth. And if you don't learn this, you'll repeat the same cycle forever. Urgency, loss. Overtrading, another loss. More urgency, more mistake, loss, and a blown account. It's a pattern. And you'll keep thinking your problem is discipline. And the pattern will just be like, you'll just never see the pattern because you think it's discipline. And your problem is that you're still treating trading like real life. Trading is not real life, it's probabilistic. If you don't know what that means, I encourage you to go and chat GBT it because there's nothing to fix, there's nothing to restore. Only correct execution is going to fix this. And you can only execute clearly when your awareness is in line. So when you keep telling yourself, oh my gosh, this bounce back is what I'm trying to do, that's actually great because that awareness matters. But awareness alone doesn't actually fix it. Awareness was never meant to be a solution. What actually changes it is learning how to trade in a way that never creates urgency in the first place. And that's exactly what I walk through in my free private training. There's no cost to it, not theory or motivation. It's literal behavioral structure. You can watch the video. I encourage you grab some water or a snack or a coffee. It's like a 15-minute video. Watch it. Do what I say in the video. It's a super short lesson you can watch right now and walk away with 3 things you can implement immediately to stop one loss from turning into 5. And honestly, if you want to start thinking about trading in a totally different way, join me in that free training. It's the first link in the description box, and all you need to do is enter your email to get access. And one more thing, that if this video actually felt like it hit you, comment the word bounce below. Not for me, it's for you. So you can stop pretending that it's about discipline. And finally admit to yourself you do not need a bounce back.